Hey, you guys. We're in week 3. This week is going to be a little bit easier than the last 2 weeks because Easter's coming up, and although we're not going out and doing anything, your families might want to do stuff at home, so I want to make sure that I don't get in the way too much of that. I know you guys have been spending a lot of time with your family, but still, I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to be with them. So let's go ahead and look at what we're going to be doing this week. So we're going to go to week 3. You're, of course, going to watch the video first, and then click on Girl with a Pearl Earring. This week you're going to watch the video, then download the new text and read pages 55 through 85. I'm going to talk about that in just a second, so give me a minute. And then you're going to complete a timed writing. If you remember, we've done one timed writing in class before. I gave you the 45 minutes of class to complete it. This time you're going to have an hour. I'll show you a little bit of what I need you to do, especially need you to pay attention to when you're doing the timed writing, just so that your submission does get turned in to me, okay? So let's go ahead and go back. If you'll notice, I have uploaded a new document called Correct Novel Full Text. Last week when I uploaded the document for the text to Blackboard, I didn't realize that it was leaving blank pages between, and so page 66 ended up becoming page 114. I know some of you didn't know that until after you'd already read, because it wasn't brought to my attention until a little bit later, so that's okay. I don't expect you to go back and do any of the annotations that you missed. Just make sure that you do have annotations for the section that you did read. So when you open this new document, this is the one you need to read on this week. Don't read the old one. Don't look at the one that I uploaded. It needs to be this document. It will look like this. No skipped pages, okay? The section that you should have read up to last week, page 66, ends on page 55 on this document. So you should have read up to, during week 2, the section that says, "There was nothing to be said." That was the end of the second section for week 2. If you didn't make it up to this point, you'll have to go back and read all of what you missed. You'll have to find where you ended and then read all the way up to this section before reading section 3 for week 3. You don't have to go back and do any of the annotations again, okay? So just remember that. So after you've read up to this section, which is for week 2, you'll need to read all the way to page 85. Which is right here. Page 85, at the very end of the page, is the end of week 3. As you can see here, I said end of week 3 reading. It ends with, "I was shaking from my thoughts, a picture of the knife spinning on my mother's kitchen floor." That is page 30 of this section, okay? So that's like the 30th page. You read 30 pages basically every single week, okay? So page 55 through 85 is what you're reading this week on this new document. If you didn't make it to page 55 on this new document, then you need to make sure you read that too, because everything from page 1 to now, page 85 at the end of this week, you will need for the timed writing. So let's go ahead and go back to the timed writing. I'll give you an idea of what you're looking for. I'm not going to give you the entire prompt, of course, because I don't want you writing on it until you're ready to write on it. But I'm going to give you an example of turning it in, because there are multiple buttons you have to push. So what I do give you before you open the timed writing is this little precursor. It's by this point you have gained a fairly good understanding of Vermeer, Katarina, the children, the other house staff, and Maria Thins. That's the mother-in-law, Katarina's mother. For the most part, Greet is met with opposition and defiance, so it's important to remember that everybody in the house, other than Vermeer and Maria, pretty much dislike Greet. They don't like, Katarina definitely doesn't like that. Vermeer likes her a lot. She's jealous. That's no question about that. The housemaids who work for Katarina probably are just taking her side because they know what's good for them. And then, other than that, Greet is just being mistreated. Vermeer and Maria Thins, though, seem to treat her as important and as a human. So that's really important to think about as you're reading this week, especially as you get close to the end, 80 to 85, somewhere in there. You definitely start to see some preference shown. So really take that into consideration as you're reading, okay? So what I want you to do, I'm going to show you this. So you're going to see this when you click Start Attempt, okay? You're going to have to click Start Attempt. It's going to show you the prompt, and then it's going to be this really big box down here. You can type your essay in this box, but I prefer that you type it in a Google Doc and then upload it down here. This is technically a page long, which is what I'm asking for your timed writing to be. 1 page. I don't need it to be in paragraphs. I don't need you to use quotes from the novel. What I do need for you to do, though, is have some sort of introduction, like walk me in a little bit, then tell me what you're saying, and then close it off. It can be 1 really large paragraph, that is okay. And then with the quotes, you don't use quotes because I don't want you wasting time. You only have an hour. I want you to just think about what you've read and say, at one point in time when Greet did this, this, and this, she was able to get support from, right? And then you can just tell me. That's a paraphrasing. That's all you're doing. So make sure you're doing that as you're writing. Make sure you're referencing the novel, but not copying and pasting anything from the novel, because if you copy and paste, then it just ends up being plagiarism, and I don't want you to do that. So again, you don't have to do this in paragraph form, so please don't worry about that. Don't stress about making a perfect introduction or perfect conclusion or a perfect body paragraph. Just worry about answering the question, okay? Again, you can write it here, but my preference is you typing it in a Google Doc and then turning it in here. Now here's something important. When you click Finish Attempt, this did not turn it in. You have to click Submit All and Finish, and then Submit All and Finish again. That is the only way that your part gets turned in, okay? So, of course, it'll show you that you got a 0 out of 100 because I need to grade that myself. So just be aware of that, all right? So that is it for this week. If you guys have any questions or any concerns about what the work is, or about what's going on in the novel, because of course I didn't get to talk a whole lot about the novel this week, feel free to send me a message. My phone number is on Blackboard. It's also in that Skype call that we completed. And then, of course, you can send me a remind or an email, or we can do a video conference at any point in time, okay? So you guys just let me know if you need any support, and I'm happy to help you with anything that I can do, okay? I will see you guys soon.